What's going on, everyone? Today I want to cover the overhead press. Now there are a lot of different ways you can do it. You can do it with a barbell, a dumbbell, a kettlebell. The biggest thing though, and the most common issue that we have with an overhead press is compensating by arching our lower back. So when you see people pressing, sometimes you see them, especially with the barbell, they're going and then they're like, oh man, I got this, and then you see this cave, like that's a big no-no. That's just a lot of stress on the low back and on the spine that we want to try to avoid. So I'm going to share with you some tips to get in a more advantageous position. That way we can press overhead while maintaining our ribs down positioning, which is saving our lower back. Tip number one is bringing it down to the ground. So when we go into kneeling positions, it forces us to kind of use our posterior chain a little bit more, such as our hamstrings, our glutes, our upper back, to maintain that upright posture without putting all that stress on our low back. So one of the ways you can do it is 2 knees down. So this is tall kneeling. You'll grab your kettlebell or dumbbell, whatever you're using, one arm, keeping those ribs down, so nice tight core. In this position, pressing up and then coming down. Making sure we're nice and tall, coming here. Notice how I'm not arching to try to get it up. One, because I'm using a weight that is enough for me. I'm not trying to overload the movement too much where I have to compensate, but also I'm using my other muscles in my body to stabilize. Once we can go tall kneeling, we can then kind of graduate to a half kneeling. So that's 1 knee down, 1 knee up. This is a little less stable because you're only using one side of that posterior chain to really stabilize. So you're going to use the same arm that the knee is up, and that's the arm that you're going to press with. So make sure we have active toes. I'm still keeping my ribs down. Think about squeezing your butt. Here, press up, come back down. Same thing, we're keeping those ribs down. If the weight gets a little bit too heavy, that's when we start to arch. So it would kind of look like this. So from here, I'm pressing. Oh no, I can still get into that arched position. Keep it down, press up, come back down. We really like using ground-based movements for the overhead press. You can also do it with a landmine. That's a great option. Maybe I'll go over that next week as a second or progression from the floor, because it keeps us out of that arching back and we're still getting our overhead press. Hope this helps and it helps you avoid some lower back pain with your overhead pressing.